Hey everybody, I am Susan Stavitzski. I'm a senior product manager at CarMax, and today we're going to be going through using discovery to test assumptions and uncover opportunities. But before we really kick things off, who am I? Well, hi, I'm Susan. I started my career in marketing, moved into product marketing, and then into product, where I've been for a little over 6 years now. Had the opportunity to work at small startups, less than 30 people, medium-sized companies with 4 to 5 product teams, and now enterprise level companies with over 40 product teams. And it's clear to say that product is different everywhere, but the value of customer discovery is so crucial to great products. So I'm really excited to talk about that today. But before we get started, I'm going to make an assumption. I'm assuming that if you're at Product Drive, you know what is customer discovery. If you don't worry, you can always reach out to me or anyone else, and I'm happy to share with you some resources on how to get you started. But we're going to jump past that and go into why discovery, just high level, and then we're going to dive into some examples. So why discovery? Why should you do customer discovery? Well, first and foremost, you can't really build a great product or even a great business for that fact without understanding your customers. Who are we building for? What are their problems? Why is it important? You got to know that. Also, you want to keep a pulse on the market. Your customers will tell you what's going on with their business, their expectations, even your competitors. You want to know what's happening and what's changing around you. They say that product managers also make decisions with their gut, but you have to train your gut in order to make great decisions. So customer discovery really does that for you. There's no way that you're going to be able to do discovery on every single decision you have to make as a product manager. So you need to be able to know your customers and make decisions on their behalf when they're not around. You also want to disprove yourself, and we're going to dive into this one a little bit deeper here in a second. And it's kind of strange to say it that way, I guess, but you don't want to go out trying to prove yourself right. You kind of want to challenge yourself and say, how could I be wrong? How am I thinking about this in maybe the wrong way and need to think about it differently? Also, every single customer conversation you have, or looking at data or watching behavior, you're going to learn something. It may not be what you thought you're going to learn, but you are going to learn something. It's never a waste of time. And last, but certainly not least, to energize your team. Customer discovery and just discovery in general should not be something that just the product manager and your UX partner are doing. Include your engineers, your marketing team, your analysts, even your leadership team. Everyone should be listening and hearing from customers as often as possible so that you can make great product decisions. So let's dive into 2 of these. First one's going to be testing assumptions. But first, what is an assumption? So an assumption is a thing that is accepted as true or certain to happen without proof. And I probably should have bolded the without proof part, because that's the big takeaway here is you don't know. You're just kind of assuming this could be right, or maybe it's not. But what's important is that you're recognizing that assumption. We're all going to make assumptions. I still do it. Your engineers are going to do it. Your leadership team is certainly going to do it. But what's important is when you recognize it, you say, wait a second, we don't know that to be true. So what are we going to do about it? And you certainly never want to build something based on an assumption. That's not going to be a good use of your time or your engineering team's time. So you can use customer discovery to really combat that assumption. Say, okay, we don't know if that's true or not. How could we test that? Who could we talk to? How could we do some discovery and figure out, are we thinking about this in the right way? Or do we need to think about it differently? Challenge yourself, challenge your team. So I'm going to take you through 2 examples actually of where this happened to me. These are real. And I'm going to share with you kind of what the assumption was, what our team did about it, and how we got through it. So the first one I'm going to go through is from when I was working at a startup. We were a notifications platform for the home improvement space. And basically what that means is that, say you needed to get work done on your house, new roof, new carpet, new windows, something like that. If you needed that, you'd probably reach out to a professional unless you're incredibly handy. Well, when you reach out to that professional, they're typically going to schedule some time to come out, give you an estimate, look at your home, that kind of thing. They need a way to talk to those homeowners and be able to actually schedule that time. They use our platform for that. So the renovation companies would go on our platform, they could send text, email, phone to the homeowner to schedule those things. So there's some background for you. But through some discovery, we started hearing common things from our customers just saying, I don't know what's going on. Well, wait, how do you not know what's going on? Everything's right here. And they're like, well, sure, we can see the messages, the phone calls, all of that, but we don't know who's doing it. And we don't know exactly where the customer is in the process. Like, okay, what do you mean? Like, what else would you like to see? And I'm like, well, because anyone on my team can log in at any time and continue the conversation with the customer, the homeowner, we don't know who's sending quotes or making promises that maybe we shouldn't be making. We need to see what are those actions that are being taken on the customer account. I said, okay, that's a really great problem. That's something that we could solve for you. We went back to our engineering team and kind of shared what the customer had shared with us. And they said, oh yeah, we have all that data. We know who's logging in. We know what actions are being taken on their account. We're just not surfacing it anywhere. It's awesome. That's usually the hard part, right? Is just getting the data. So we went to our design team and our UX partners and we said, okay, we know the problem. Engineering's given us the green light that we have the data. How do we want to present it? And so our UX team went ahead and said, okay, like, let me take a first stab at this. We know that we need to have a customer record. So in this screenshot here, you can see that Jamie McIntosh is the homeowner. This is her record in the product. And we have that communications tab that's not highlighted. That's where all the messages are. But maybe if we added an activity section, you could see everything that's happened to Jamie and who at the renovation company has taken those actions. Just first stab, this could be a way that we could format this. We went ahead and circulated it internally a little bit just to get some ideas flowing. Our leadership team was like, done, you nailed it. That's what we should build. Go build it. Wow, that's easy. A little too easy. So we stopped and we said, okay, that's great that you're excited about this and that we could go and build that. But is that the right way? Is that actually what the customer wanted? We heard a couple of things from them, you know, what happened to their account. We need to know where they are in the process. We need to know who's taking the action. We feel like we checked all those boxes, but could we think about this in a different way? Are we making an assumption? And so the design team went back and said, let me think about this. Let me just see if we can kind of come up with another example. And they did. This one here on the right. So we said, okay, let's just take out the who. We heard that, yes, we did. But let's take out the who and just show more of the what. What has happened to Jamie? Where is she in the process? Let's do a test and let's show this to some customers and see what they say and see which one is actually solving their problem. So we did. We showed this to a couple of different customers. We showed them in different order so we'd have no recency bias. And we came away with, what do you think? This one. So the second one, the one that we challenged ourselves to think differently, actually won in our test because when we showed them to the customer realized that, sure, I want to know who did it, but at the end of the day, I need to know where Jamie, our homeowner customer, is in the process the most so that I can pick it up wherever she's at and get started and continue on. I want to set that appointment. I want to get Jamie to be an actual paying customer with us. We got to get that under control. Whoever sent out the quote, whoever sent out the maybe promise that we shouldn't have done, I can dive in deeper and go find that. But the most important thing is where Jamie is in the process. So yes, we could have built the first one. It would have solved the problem, but we probably would have made our customers dig a little bit deeper for the information that was actually vital to them. So by stopping and saying, are we making an assumption? Are we thinking that we just got it on the first go round? Let's go. We saved ourselves some engineering time because this was a little bit less for us to build, and we were able to solve the problem stronger, which is pretty cool. Now, I'm going to take you through a second example of testing assumptions as well. And this one's a little bit more fun. It is just going to be wireframes I'm going to show you, but it was at a different organization that I worked at where we were a marketplace product, which means that we had employers posting shifts that workers could claim. So anytime they needed a shift claim, say, I just need to have a dishwasher come in on a Saturday night, or we have a special event this weekend that I need some help setting up. They could post a shift and say, for 4 hours, I need someone to come in and help set up. Our workers would be able to see all of those shifts and claim them whenever they wanted, and they could come in and work it. Really cool platform. Well, something that we always had was a list view for our employers. Our employers could see the shifts that they had posted, what day, the times. This is, like I said, just a mock-up. This is me playing in Figma, trying to, show an idea to my designer. So no designer did this, it was me. Just a quick mock-up, but this is kind of how it was. It was just a list of information so that the employer could see what was going on. Our leadership team was like, hey, you know what we should do? We should build a calendar view. Okay. Why? Why should we build a calendar view? Oh, well, everyone loves calendars. Everyone loves Google Calendar. We should build a calendar. Okay, great idea. But what's the value, right? What's the value of that? They're like, well, they'll post more shifts. If they can see a full calendar, they'll post more shifts. You probably know where we're going with this. we're making an assumption. We're assuming that if we show a calendar view, our employers are going to post more versus the list view. Well, we said, okay, great idea. We hear what you're saying, but before we build it, and for any of you on here who have built a calendar, you know it's really not easy. So shout out to Google and everybody else who's doing that. But we said, let's go talk to some people. Let's go talk to some customers and see if this assumption is true, or at least has some legs for us to do some test. Well, we went out and we talked to our customers and we said, hey, you know, we're thinking about building a calendar. Would that be helpful? Unfortunately, majority of them said no. We don't really post enough with you all, maybe 5, 6 at a time. Having a list of 6 things is really not that big a deal. I don't think I'd really use a calendar. So we went back to leadership. We said, hey, you know, that was a really cool idea, but we went out and talked to some customers and it just doesn't feel like that's a good fit for our product. I don't think we're going to build it. Well, no, we have to build it. We want to have a calendar. We really, really know that they're going to post more if there's a calendar. They would engage with it. They would check it out. Okay, we're not going to stop here. So let's see what we can do. So we said, okay, we talked to them, didn't really have the response we expected, but let's run a test, right? Let's get some actual hard numbers, some data, and see. Maybe just the customers we talked to weren't into it. Maybe the overwhelming majority would be. So we decided, okay, what is a really light way, without having to build a whole calendar, that we could go out and test this assumption? And we decided to do just a quick fake door test, which we put a calendar icon into the product. Again, mock-up, not the real thing. Put a calendar icon in the product, and if a customer was to click on a calendar, it would have a little text box that popped up that said calendar coming soon. That's all it did. Very lightweight for engineers to build. Only took about a day or two with testing to get it out the door. Super fast. We're like, cool. We'll keep an eye on who's engaging with this, how often people are engaging with it, and we'll follow up with some conversations. Well, we let that run for a couple of weeks. What do you think happened? Yeah, no one really clicked it, which is fine. You know, that's why you run tests. So we went out and we said, okay, majority of people who logged into the product, went to this page, engaged with other items here, did not engage with this icon. Let's go talk to some of the ones who did, because we had some people who clicked it. And we reached out to them. We said, hey, you know, we saw that you clicked on the calendar icon. What did you think of that? Would you use a calendar? Well, some of them said we were interested in what it meant, because it didn't really say anything unless I clicked it. But what I thought it was going to do is add it to my calendar. What do you mean? Well, I use Google Calendar, you know, Outlook Calendar, or whatever it might be. And I was hoping that this would actually put your shifts on my calendar with everything else going on with my day. So I would be reminded when I had a worker coming in. That's really cool. You know, we didn't think of that yet. And we said, okay, cool. That's really great feedback. There was a couple people who said, yeah, I thought it would be a calendar that I could actually engage with. But most of them actually called out the add to calendar. So we put that in the backlog and said, we should do some more discovery there, because that could be a really great feature. We reached out to some of the customers who didn't engage with it that week. And we said, hey, did you see the calendar icon? Yeah, I saw it. How come you didn't engage with it? Did you want a calendar? No, I don't need a calendar. So now we had some hard numbers and we had some interviews of the customers who engaged and didn't engage with it. And we went back to leadership and said, we're not building this. It's a lot of work. Nobody really wants it. Maybe we'll come back to it when there's more shifts being posted and there's more interaction here. But for now, this isn't a good use of time. And after that point, they understood and they said, yep, you're right. You guys have done your due diligence. We thought it was a really cool idea. We'll come back to it. So that saved us a lot of time as well. It's just making sure we didn't have to build a full-blown calendar if nobody was going to use it. So going on to the second point here is also using discovery around uncovering opportunities. So what is an opportunity? I'm going to read you a definition again. It's a set of circumstances that make it possible to do something. So learning that something is possible. Hey, we didn't think about that. How could we be getting that out of discovery? Whenever you're going out and doing discovery, you could have a topic that you want to focus on, you know, a wireframe that you want to get feedback on, or you want to just do generative discovery. Hey, how are things going? How's your business running? How are you using the product? How are you liking things? Where could we be more helpful? And in all of those conversations, you're going to start to pick out themes. You're going to start hearing when a customer has a pain point that you're not solving a problem for. And the more that you hear that over and over again, it's going to make you want to dive into it deeper. And so once you start hearing those, you can do some dedicated discovery around it. So I'm going to tell you a story about where this actually happened to our team. just doing some generative discovery. So this is actually the Shift product. This is a fake account, but this is screenshots from it. You can actually see the calendar icon right there, which I didn't notice until I started putting together these slides. But basically, we had customers that were using the product, like I said, 5, 6, 7 times a week or so. But we did start having customers who were posting way more often, which was great for us because as a team, our KPIs were around usage. We wanted to drive more usage. Our company, our business model was we got paid a portion of the shift. So the more shifts you posted, the more money that our workers were getting, but also the more money we were getting for our cut. So we wanted more shifts. So we actually got an entertainment company starting to use us, and they were using us really heavy on the weekends because they had a lot of people coming in. They needed a lot of extra help for setting up events, cooking food, etc. And we started seeing them using the product 30, 40, 50 times a day, which was awesome. You can see here, in this screenshot, you have somebody needing a dishwasher and they had 4 openings, 3 or 4 were filled, and you could see all the workers who were filling your shifts. So we had people who were posting a shift that needed, 15 people for setup, 10 people for cleanup, whatever it might be. And we said, we got to go talk to these guys. We have to go see what is working, what's not working. How can we start taking the behaviors of this company who's using us so diligently and so often and seeing great results? And could we actually get some of those behaviors to happen with our other customers? So we just did a quick generative discovery call, got on the phone with them, said, hey, tell us how things are going. Looks like it's going really well, but would love to hear from you. What could be better? Like, oh yeah, it's great. We're using you, 40 times a day, Friday night, Saturday, getting a lot of really great workers. The workers are showing up. They're working really hard. We're really happy with how they're doing and just overall the platform. And we're like, wow, this is great. This is, let's write down some of this for testimonials, all of that. And they say, yeah, but, the workers are great, but your product is super annoying. It's like a dagger in the heart, right? Like, okay, why? Why is the product? Tell me more, right? Where did that come from? You were really happy about 5 seconds ago. And they're like, well, we use you so much. We're like, yeah, we love it. We want to keep having you use the product so often. It's like, well, we use you so much. And at the end of every single shift, we have to clock out the workers. We're like, well, yeah, you want to tell us, how long did they work? We don't want to overcharge you. We don't want the worker to not get the hours that they deserve if maybe they stayed later. Like, yeah, so we clock out every worker and we rate every worker. Like, yeah, you do, because say in this example, maybe Faith didn't really work very well and you don't want to have Faith back. We want to know that so that we can give Faith some feedback as well as not put Faith on a shift for you in the future. Like, totally makes sense. We're really happy with that. We get why you're doing it. But remember, we're using your product 30 to 40 times a day, which means I'm clocking out 30 to 40 times a day. Oh, we didn't think about that. Because again, our previous employers were only using us 5, 6, 7 times a day. So why would we think that that's annoying? It's not. 40 times a day, this many times, it's, yeah, okay, we get it. We had no words. This is very annoying. So we stopped. We said, wow, we did not know this. We did not even think about this. This is a great problem to have, though. Very positive. This is a great problem to have. Will you help us fix it? And the employer was great. And they said, yes, again, love the product, love overarching, like the workers that are coming, why we're using it makes sense. But we got to fix this. This is not something that we're going to keep doing. So over the next couple of weeks, we partnered with this employer and we said, all right, what are the things that we have to do? We had to keep all of the clock out. We didn't want to overcharge anybody. We didn't want to undercut any of our workers. There's no getting around that. We have to confirm hours. We also have to collect rating. So it's not like we could eliminate these questions. We had to figure out what can we do here to make this a better experience for the employer so that it's not so annoying. So over a couple of weeks, we worked with our UX partners and our design team and kind of just thought through what could we be doing differently. And we came up with a bulk way to clock them out. Some of you probably got there already, sorry. But a bulk way to clock them out and said, okay, here's everybody who worked for this shift, approve or disapprove the hours. And anybody who had the wrong hours, we could actually fix them just one off. We also came up with a way that they could confirm who they wanted to leave feedback on, and they only had to select certain ones and give us a rating, again, in a bulk way. And at the end, We also gave them a way to see a rolled up view of everything that they're going to be charged. So in this example, you have 5 people for 35 hours and you're going to be billed $245. So through the process of this and just doing generative discovery, we were able to see a huge glaring problem that just never had been brought up yet. And we probably would have lost that customer in the process if we hadn't fixed it and had that phone call with them just to see how things were going, because they were getting really annoyed. And the best part is any of our other customers who did bulk shifts, meaning 2 or more people were working the same shift, got the benefit of this new workflow. So they didn't ever have to go through the even 3 people clocking out at individual times. They got the rolled up view now too. So it really benefited us and helped us out with our KPI around increasing usage, because now we created a better workflow for those who were in fact using our product more. So in conclusion, do customer discovery. You can probably hear in my voice how passionate I am about it and how excited it is to talk to these customers. But challenge your assumptions. If you think you aren't sure about something, go talk to somebody. It's a great conversation. You're going to find great things. You're going to learn something new. Think of creative ways to test. It doesn't always have to be an A/B test. It doesn't always have to be a fake door test. Go out and be creative. Figure out how you could come up with new ways to test and work with your team. Don't build things that haven't been validated. Your engineers will love you for that. Always have validation. Try your hardest to come up with ways to validate. Some things are going to be really tough until you build it. You can see the behavior and what it's going to be, but a lot of things you can go out and test to validate your ideas. And last but certainly not least, just listen. I have gotten so many amazing ideas straight from the mouth of our customers. They use your product every day sometimes. They know what's missing. They know it could be better. So listen to them, go out, get ideas, iterate with them. They'll use the product more and be really excited and tell their friends about your product when they actually have built something with you. Well, thanks so much for listening to me, and hopefully my stories were helpful to you. If you'd like to connect, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I also share information about Product Management Weekly on Medium, so feel free to follow me there. Thanks so much.